Alright, well, welcome to VR Citizen. Going to be filming a tutorial tonight. So, tonight's tutorial is a full VR setup from start to finish for Vorpex. So I'm going to do a couple of things in-game, like save my current control profile and then reset all the defaults. And then once we do that, we'll get started. So I'll start all the way back out from the desktop and we'll go with launching Vorpex and all that. So, but most of the Vorpex stuff is just defaults anyways, so. Anyways, be right back. Okay, I think it's time to start. So, welcome to VR Citizen. Today we're going to be doing a complete setup for 3.7.1. Since those of you who might have access to a new free flight week, this is a quick and dirty on how to get everything done to play it in VR. This is full control setup, so that means touch controllers, HOTAS, walking around, as well as optional wheel that we'll do at the very end. To make everything easy for now, we're just going to unplug the wheel so that the controller recognition in Star Citizen doesn't get messed up with anything. So, give me 1 sec, and then we will launch. Okay, now that we are back to the desktop, let's pretend that you have a fresh install of Star Citizen, a fresh install of Vorpex, and you have it running. Since you're ready to roll, you have your touch kit, you have your HOTAS and your wheel disconnected. We're just going to hop right in. So, for you to see what I see, we're going to turn on an extra little step for me. This is not for you, but I turn on the Oculus mirror, and now you get to see what I'm looking at. 420 Blaze It, by the way. Borealis is the name of the track. So, I have my chat on the right here. I have my main window. I gotta make sure that. So, what I'm gonna be doing with this is just have this over here. And then, whenever you click Launch Game, Vorpex attaches to the next running EXE that it can find. There you go, attaching to Star Citizen. So be careful that you don't launch Discord or anything after you have Vorpex running. You could right click on it and disable the driver in the bottom right of your task manager on the icon that's there next to your clock. But other than that, it should just run. Okay, so now the first big feature of Vorpex are the controllers having their own key mappings for Vorpex itself, as well as per each game that it automatically loads into. So this is already set up defaulted. That'll work perfectly most of the stuff that you're going to need for Star Citizen for a first-person shooter gameplay. Now, one of the big things that they do is the Z button, or not Z button, but the edge peak, which is middle mouse button. And that is the middle mouse button just pops out the screen and makes it like a big projector, so that you could see the edges of all of the screens, giving you access to your chat, your health, your ammo counter, and things like this in the menus when you need to go to the corners and click and look at things. Because otherwise, as you can see, it's kind of a zoomed in view, but that's the whole point of VR. So what we're going to do is go straight to the universe and load up the FPS module, and then we're going to do some FPS controls and get to a ship, and then we're going to basically fly that around and figure out why it's not doing it as we explain how to correct all of these things and set up a HOTAS. Once we do that, we're going to save it, and then we're going to quit out, and we're going to plug back in the wheel, and then we're going to go back in, and then we're going to do the extra things like the pedals for the ground vehicles, flight strafing for the pedals like braking and forward thrust on a ship for landing, as well as a couple of extra buttons on the wheel itself, which will make your life a lot better, such as quantum jump and quantum spool on the shifter button. It's fine. Take two. Alright, here we are. So, as you can see, you just hit W or go forward, and then that will get you out of bed. You basically just got to pretend it's an Xbox controller that's split in half, and that's as easy as that. So as you noticed, I look right and I move forward, I'll go where I'm looking. Forward, backwards, forward, backwards. I look left, forwards, backwards, forward, backwards. Okay, so wherever you're looking is going to be forwards, just like with the mouse and keyboard, WASD. Your head is now the mouse, and then this is now WASD, is basically what it amounts to. However, you could hit the Z button, which is right there, and then you could actually shoulder look and actually do that in Star Citizen. And then when you still move forward, you will move forward and no longer move where you're looking. But you have to be holding that button. That is not a toggle yet. Hopefully they will add that, but it's not really for VR functional purposes. It's more for FPS, kind of having a gun and being able to look on either side of it. So, next thing we do is we need to open the door. There's our convenient little F to get the F menu, and then boom, just open. Easy. So what I like to do is I'll make my head movements and whatnot, and then whenever I need to turn like this, I'll use my thumbstick and I'll just kind of shoulder up. Big movements with the thumbstick, tiny movements with the head. And then that way that'll allow you to kind of keep your center view as forward as possible if you're needing to do that type of thing, or try not to get your cords tangled. And then yeah, it's just basically an Xbox controller, except you can manually adjust the view. And you got all the controls you need. You got your F menu, reload, tab, shift, C for crouch, Z for free look and stuff. You got space button for jump, and yeah. So now this is where we want the edge peak. You hit that middle mouse button, and if you're doing this sitting down at a desk without the HOTAS and just mouse and keyboard and just looking around, which is still fine, is great actually. The middle mouse button is going to be your best friend for types of situations like these, for buying stuff at Windows, getting the ship menus, navigating your map and solar system, HUD, Hangar 1, and then boom, undo it. So let's go to the ship. So that's basically a quick and dirty breakdown of all the FPS controls. It's pretty much stock right out of the box. And that's all you need to worry about, and you can end here if that's all you need for setting up VR. Next we go to HOTAS setup. And as you notice, when we are moving our head, nothing is happening. So, the first thing you do is hit the Z button. That's going to be the free look toggle. That is going to be your next best friend. Get used to that control. Now, when you move your stick, you'll notice immediately, shit. My joystick moves my view. Why is that? Well, because it's slaved to the mouse control, remember? So, at this point, since you hit Z, it assumes that you want to use the joystick or the mouse to look around, because you can't normally look around without them. But we have our head device, and so that takes care of that. What you're going to want to do to overcome that is make a couple of control syncs. First off, go to Options. I'm going to set our bindings for the controller that you have. So hopefully yours is already listed under here, but just go with the defaults for now. X52 Pro is the one that I have. Joystick, joystick. Boom. And so now we should have the defaults, and if you're familiar with those, let's just go ahead and power up.
Welcome aboard your Drake interplanetary craft. Your systems are offline.
Hit F1. And we need to get out of the gate, so let's go ahead and landing control.
You're free to launch.
Now, every time you go in and out of the F1 or F2 menus, you lose your free look. So, hit Z to free look, and then boom, you can check to make sure that the doors are open, and then as normal, lift up.
Good luck out there.
Unfortunately, I have a little bit of a steering issue, If you ever have something like this happen, go ahead and unplug and then replug. I bet you anything it's just not that at all. Oh, Jesus. Okay, and see, this is why you want to disconnect your mouse movement. Okay, so as we all know, the mouse moving will control left or right, but now that your head is left or right, that's no good, especially if you leave it slightly to the left or right and then go into free look mode, because it just keeps whatever the last position was. So what we're going to do is set that in the middle. First thing we need to do is unbind the look from the joystick options. So we go to key bindings, advanced customizations down at the bottom, and then we go to flight view. Look on the joystick. There we go. Flight view. Joystick, look left. We don't need that. Look right. We don't need that. Look left or right on the axis. We don't need that. Look up and down. We don't need that. We don't need that. And we don't need that. Cool. That's all done. I get rid of the dynamic zoom in and out as well, just in case that messes up with your view. So now that that's done, we go back. And then now, hey, look at that. We can actually control our ship with a quick bunch of unbinds. So now we are still in Z mode, which is free look, okay? And then you also hit the R button to engage your weaponry toggle to make your reticle float with your head. So easy peasy. Next set of controls that we need to remember now is J for our ship engines to rotate out of VTOL mode. And we are going to bind these and a couple of other things onto a different button here in a minute with the wheel. But for now, just remember that that's what that does to get you rolling. Now, if you're ever off-center, just use your mouse to put you right back where you need. And then it's basically time to get going. So now, there's a whole bunch of issues immediately that are wrong with the buttons and stuff, and so I'm going to go do what I like to do with those. Now, if you ever have like a drifting issue, you're just slightly drifting up, unplug, replug your joystick, boom. There's just probably a slight calibration issue when you're going in between menus, that it held at like a couple of degrees off center. So, while we're just flying into space, what we're going to do is make some quality of life changes to the keybinds. Options, key bindings. We're going to go to joystick HOTAS, and then what we need to do is you could basically, you've gotten rid of the view on the hat. So you have 4 extra POV hat positions to do whatever you want with. I assign those to shields. Then on top of that, you have, you could rework your target reticle and your other 4-way POV hat with the nubs, because that has a couple of extra controls like, I think, quantum and stuff like that you're going to move over to the shifter paddles. And just all sorts of little quality of life things on the left side, which is like the decoupling right here, the boost being an actual boost button, the brake button being right here, you know? So, yeah. We're going to just do that real quick. So, flight movement. See, match target velocity and all that stuff is, I believe, on the cursor buttons. But I don't want any of that. Alright, so space brake, we're going to adjust to the button that's, of these 3 lit up ones right here, here, and here, the middle one is going to be space brake. And that's decrease power throw and strafe invert forward, backwards. So yes, we want that. And then we get rid of strafe invert forward, backwards. backwards. We don't need a forward backwards because throttle forward is going to be on the pedals, and that will help us do that. All right, so throttle forward, throttle access, straight forward, back, invert. Okay, so afterburner now. We're going to make that, and that's decoupled mode. So now we're going to swap decoupled mode onto this button on top. Brake. And then we're going to make sure the brake is on the middle now. Space brake, button 7. There you go. Where is brake? Just straight up brake. Space brake. Flight movement. Alright, hang on. Let's go down over to ground vehicle. Seat, cycle horn, zoom. Vehicle movement. Brake. There we go. Okay, get rid of that. That was on the ground vehicle, and that was this top button. Alright, so that all does is basically makes this top button decoupled, this middle button your space brake, and then this button your boost button, which just feels so much better with where your thumb and your hands and stuff naturally position. Other than that, there's just little tiny quality of life things that you can change as well, such as flight targeting now. You don't need aim left or aim right now. All of that can be unbound because you're not using your hat. You're not using your joystick POV hats to aim. You're using your headset, and you can just look and aim. So now we don't need any of that. Alright, so reticle focus, that's basically focus whatever's in front of you, and I put that to the nubbed 4-way POV as up, and that's already there. Cycle all hostile targets as the button that's towards me, so opposite of it, button 22. Target nearest hostile, no. Alright, so that's actually what we wanted, is 22 on nearest hostile, not cycle hostile. Cycle friendly. So cycle friendlies on the right, and then cycle all targets on the left. So that way all targeting is on that. So quantum is stuck to that, so go back to flight movement and unbind quantum. I know it takes a while, folks, but once you get it all set up, it's totally worth it. Alright, so quantum and quantum drive toggle and all that has been taken off. Okay, cool. All of that we just want to keep the same. So every time you're binding something to something else, be sure to go back and unbind whenever it's binding over. So we got our reticle focus, cycle all targets, cycle friendly targets, and then target nearest hostile. So that's all 4 of our POV thumbs on targeting. And all the 4 different types that we could get. Whatever is directly in front of us, all of our friendlies, all of our all targets, and then our closest enemy, which is really the one that you need. Scanning. Okay, so after that, you have this other POV hat that's down below that doesn't have the nubs. What I like to do is just put my shield front, back, left, and right. And then boom. reset shield levels, I also put to the button that's kind of to the right, to the left of that, which is fire group weapon 2 and whatnot, but we're going to be swapping those. So now we go to flight weapons. So fire group 1, first joystick. Yes. Now, fire group 2, we're going to use the second button on the first joystick, which is actually button 15. So that way when you pull all the way with your trigger, you're firing your secondary weapons. That way you just do a light trigger pull for your initial weapons. I like to use that because it takes advantage of the double trigger pull, and I can actually, you know, make use of the separate button in there. Next, you want to swap up your acquire missile lock. I hit to the same button that's in between the POVs to the bottom of the one and to the left of the other. That's button 5. And then launch missile. You're going to want to keep, but make sure it's the middle button. And then there you go. And I believe that should be everything that we need for now. We're going to be binding all the other little small extra set of quality of life things on the wheel with its buttons. I have a G27, it's got 6 on the front and then these 2 back there, as well as a whole bunch of extra down here that you can mess around with and bind. But for now, and remember, every time you go in and out, oh no, that's just the F menus. Whenever you go in and out of the F menus, your head look gets turned off. And another thing that you can do to make sure that you never move your mouse and screw up your ship orientation is just take that off. Straight up keyboard and mouse advanced customization, flight movement. You technically no longer need this. And that's going to help you with a lot of little tiny issues. So now that you have the Z-Look untoggled, it won't move you around. And now that we're done, all the normal stock controls apply.
Landing gear. Attention. Engines overheating. Attention. Engines overheating.
And that's how you blow up your ship. So we can go upstairs and then spawn a vehicle now and set up the wheel controls. First we need to spawn our ship and get the timer going so that we can claim it and have it for later. Okay. We'll be right back, folks. Alright, so this is the Oculus mirror that allows you guys to see whatever I'm seeing on screen. And this is going to be important for just a couple of other little details here and there. So the final part of the tutorial, setting up the wheel. So let's go. Music is Borealis by 420 Blaze It. I'm not sure if it's by them, but it's hashtag under, it's under. Okay, so now I made this spiel earlier, so let's just, I guess, do it again. One of the biggest things that you're going to want to do is the middle mouse button, which is the touch control for your middle finger, and that enables the edge feature. So there you go. When you do that, that basically scrunches it down. Allows you to see the corners, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I think I'll keep in the earlier stuff and just kind of skip over to this. Alright, so next and last part, we're going to be heading back in, and we're going to be driving some ground vehicles around. Okay, so after you've plugged in your wheel, you're going to want to make sure you go to Windows, Control Panel, and then you're looking for the devices and printers. And then you're going to want to go to G27 or whatever wheel you have. Game controller settings. Go to properties and settings, and then you're going to want to make sure that enable yes, this top check mark is checked, combined single access. That's going to take it off of the simulator mode and disable your clutch, but that's what we want. And real quick, just make sure that this is all working properly too. Yeah. All okay, so everything's working. Alright, so your wheel is plugged in and turned on. You got it set to single access. Go ahead and launch. Oh shit. Nice. I haven't been inside one of those yet. It's really cool looking. There's a lot of people here, it seems. Everybody's landing and grabbing. Oh, look. It'd be kind of hard to get out of here, but use this as an obstacle course. Okay. Alright, so we need to turn on free look toggle, Z. And then turn on the engine.
Land systems.
Okay, cool. So let's go to options, key bindings. A little bit of lag here because of all the other ships. We're going to want to go to advanced customization, and then we're going to go over down here to joystick HOTAS. And then what we're looking for is ground vehicle movement. So, drive forward. Alright, well this is as good as it's going to get. We're back to doing this. Drive forward on the right shift. Drive backward on the left shift. Oh, wait, I know why. It's not the drive forward and backwards you want. It's the drive forwards, backwards that you want. Unbind that and then pop that on a pedal. It'll register the slider as one whole unit, but that slider is split between your right and left foot. Easy. And then now we just need to bind turn left, right to the x-axis. X-axis on input 2. Done. And then brake. We technically don't need a brake, but if we can put our... Nope, that won't work. Alright, cool. That's done. Boom, boom. Alright, folks, and that's it. That's ground vehicle set up with full pedal control and full wheel control. Can I drive under that? Oh my lord, just barely. And we're out of there. Alright, and yeah, the wheel sensitivity is real twitchy. You might want to go into your Windows settings and adjust the sliders or do something through Star Citizen. I'm not sure what, but if you're used to it, then you just go for it and have a lot of fun. But other than that, that's another full VR Citizen setup tutorial by yours truly, Chachi Sanchez. Thank you guys for coming out, as always. A couple other little tiny quality of life things that you can end up doing is setting your, what I like to do is set quantum travel spool to left paddle, and then jump on my ship to the right paddle, as well as free look on the top left button here that I can quickly hit, and then below that I'll do the gun sight toggle to where it will, you know, move instead of the auto aim gimbal, it'll move with your head and stuff. So I'll put that on the next one, and then on like the bottom right side, I'll do like the J button for the new what is it, VTOL toggle and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's all the other little tiny quality of life tips and tricks that I have, but you could obviously bind anything to anything that you need and have use of. So there, I know that miners will need the scanner and power up and down decrease on somewhere handy, but that's all you. This is as far as I can get you. This is a basic guide blanket for everything that you're going to want to try, and we'll show you how to work from there, how to get what you need. Anyways, I thank you guys all for watching. As always, stay safe, fly right. Play me out, Johnny.